Bond. James Bond.
In case I don't see ya. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Did we just become best friends?
Yup! Sublime!
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Tear me apart, Lisa!
But mostly I hate the way I don't hate you. Not even close. Not even a little bit. Not even at all.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Hi, friends, and welcome to another episode of You Haven't Seen That, a movie discussion podcast where we introduce our friend Ben to movies he should have seen a long time ago. I'm your host, Amanda.
I'm Geoff.
And I'm Ben.
And today we have a mini episode for you. We are going to be talking about the movies and TV shows that we all watched this summer. So we didn't really talk about the format of how we were going to go through this. So
a free-flowing discussion.
Yeah.
I love question and answers.
Yeah, exactly. So, Geoff, I know you are always very organized and have a lot of information on everything that you've watched. So why don't you start us off?
Sure. So I'll start with movies. I watched 37 new movies that came out from May to August of this past summer. So
That's
That's it. And I have stats as well, if you want to hear some stats. So that is looking back to 2021, so over the last 5 years, that would be the second most in a summer for me. That would be only behind last year when I watched 38. 2 movies got a rewatch, Weapons and K-pop Demon Hunters. And my average rating was a 3.09, which again, second best. Only behind 2023, which...
Barbie,
Oppenheimer, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. A couple of movies came out that summer that were really, really good. 26 of them were watched in theaters. 11 of them were streaming movies. And the theatrical releases got a much greater score, a 3.4, than the streaming movies, which was a 2.3. So a lot of fun highlights too. I had really great screenings for when we saw the A24 comedy Friendship. The crowd was amazing, laughing along perfectly. Had an amazing crowd for Weapons when that came out earlier in August. Amazing horror movie. Got to see it in IMAX and the crowd was perfect. Everyone was oohing and eyeing and laughing and gasping at all the right moments. And then we capped off the summer with a sing-along to K-pop Demon Hunters. And it rocked, surprisingly. So, yeah, I would say I had a fun summer at the box office.
surprisingly.
I mean, you're always tricky with those kind of things because you don't know how certain people are going to, I don't want to say behave, but behave. Plus, there's a younger crowd as well, given the nature of the movie. And everyone was great. Everyone was having a grand old time.
Yeah, there was one kid who was very excited about Golden and was like screaming that song every time it came on. I didn't hear them scream any other song, just Golden.
So what were both of your, well, I assume you don't have stats, Amanda.
No. Well, I mean, I rated all the movies. I rated them all.
What were your highlights and lowlights of the summer then? Without we're not going to try and turn this into a top 10 because we're doing that at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And we don't want to give away too much that might be in our top 10. But, broadly speaking, what did you like and dislike?
So I guess I'll get started with that real quick. I
figure we can just hit all the movies and then we can talk about TV.
Yeah, for sure. No, it makes perfect sense.
There's not much to say about TV.
No. It's kind of
makes me sad because I'm the TV guy over here, but a little higher this summer for TV.
So this summer for me, probably shocking to nobody that's listened to a few episodes of our podcast, the highlights for me all came from horror. Movies like Weapons, 28 Years Later, and even non-traditional horror movies or movies that have an element of, you could say, scary to them. Movies like Eddington, which highlights a town in New Mexico during May of 2020. Something was going on in the United States in May of 2020. I don't know what it was.
I want to revisit that.
No, but everybody, the anxieties of everybody are turned up to a 9, and you're just scared just because of how everybody is acting and how, relatively speaking, accurate it is to how overplayed it is. It's insane. And yeah, so good summer for horror. I think every comic book movie of the three comic book movies, I think they all hit, some to greater extents than others. I was a big fan of Superman. And then the lowlights, I can think of one. I haven't seen a movie as bad as the worst movie of the summer, which was War of the Worlds on Amazon Prime. Which, listen, if y'all need a good laugh, it's so bad. It's got, who does it have? It's got Ice Cube. It's got Eva Longoria. It's got, I think, Clark Gregg, who's the Agent Coulson from the Avengers movies. Yeah, it's horrendous. It's laughably bad. It's shot like you're looking at someone's webcam or computer screen the entire time. It's truly tragic.
We'll never watch.
Good. And then how about you, Amanda?
So basically,
What is on your list below K-pop Demon Hunters?
Ben, we're not giving away positions.
Sorry, we're not giving away the top 10. But let's just say there's a new number one in Amanda's life.
You know what? I saw pretty much all the same movies that Geoff did. I really enjoyed Superman. I really enjoyed it was a good summer for superhero movies. Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, Superman, they were all very enjoyable watches, which is refreshing after the trash that we've had the past couple years for the most part when it comes to those types of movies. So that was really nice. I feel like as I was going through my list, there were definitely a lot of movies that I was like, I just feel kind of mid about this movie. Like it wasn't bad, it wasn't great. Like, some of those include the How to Train Your Dragon remake, the Naked Gun reboot, Jurassic World Rebirth. Is that what this one is called?
Yes.
I don't know. Okay.
Yes.
Those ones were all very mid for me. And then let's see, the ones at the bottom, the Lilo and Stitch remake.
Tragic.
The new Mission Impossible movie. Just bleh.
I forgot that was even this summer.
Surprisingly
Right?
disappointing. Very disappointing.
Yeah. And then Happy Gilmore 2. That was more of a recent watch for Geoff and I. We didn't watch it right when it came out. And it was fine, but the use of cameos and flashbacks was just awful.
It was excessive.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just assumed that every single person watching that movie had not seen the original Happy Gilmore since it came out. They're like, let us remind you who this person is. They mentioned a moment. Do you want to see a clip of it so that you remember? And it's like, no.
And the cameos. Oh,
they
my
actually
goodness,
showed
the
like
cameos.
clips of the old movie a lot. Yep. Oh, I don't like that at all.
Maybe 15 times.
That's
I
terrible.
don't know.
It was excessive.
We've done a few movies, on our podcast leading up to sequels or reboots or things like that coming out, and watching the original of Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible and Freaky Friday, made me mildly interested in seeing the newest versions. But I feel like as time has passed, because I don't tend to see most movies in theaters, I wait till they come on streaming. And like back in May, I was like, oh, maybe I will watch Lilo and Stitch because we did and now like by the time we've reached the end of summer, I'm like, I'm not gonna watch Lilo and Stitch, and
not worth it.
Jury's still out on Freaky Friday. I might check that out when it comes to streaming, but I'm not going to see it in theaters, obviously. And but the Happy Gilmore thing, like I feel like that really was like a dominant movie this summer, in terms of the conversation and stuff. But I feel like people were very much like either on this is what we've always wanted and needed back in our lives, or this was completely unnecessary.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
And
some of the humor was there, right? And it's nice to see that be recreated in more of the, 1990s form. But yeah, I think it was just more, they missed more often than they hit.
well,
Agreed.
and maybe the popularity will help Adam Sandler get his Oscar nomination, not for Happy Gilmore, just to be
Of course
clear.
not. Jay Kelly. Premiering in
the,
Venice very soon after our recording.
Yeah. The superhero thing, I have not seen any of them, of course. I do feel like from just following the discourse, like Superman came out, what, 2 weeks before Fantastic Four?
Yes.
And I feel
Yeah.
like everybody was kind of, it felt like before they came out, people were kind of equally anticipating the two of them. And then I
Hmm.
feel like Superman, everybody like it hit, people were excited. Fantastic Four came and I feel like it was a little bit more muted, although I feel like most people who saw it generally liked it. But then I feel like
Hmm.
nobody's talking about Fantastic Four anymore, and people are still talking about Superman, and that's still
Hmm.
in like the public consciousness. And so I feel like Fantastic Four came and went like a Netflix weekend binge drop, and Superman is like your HBO drama that's just going week after week, and everybody's talking about it still.
Right. Which is
Yeah.
crazy.
I think that's very accurate. And I think it's more because Superman feels very timely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of messages and things that happen in Superman that are resonating with people in today's world. And I think that's helping it have a bit more staying power.
Yeah, I probably will check out Superman at some point, but I will
Yeah.
not watch Fantastic Four. As I don't know if I think I've mentioned this on the podcast before. I know, in fact, I know I have, but I'm making a goal to have a top 10 movies by the end of the calendar year. And I'm already at 8, but there's only about
Woo.
3 I want to be actually on my top 10 by the time we get there, or 3 I'd be okay with being on my top 10.
Right.
Um, so I need to watch more. And there's a lot of Oscar contenders coming out in the fall on streamers that I'm excited about. And we'll probably check out. But Jeff and Amanda know that I did go to the theaters once this summer
Woo.
and I
Mhm.
saw Jeff's Precious Weapons. Um,
It's
partly
the exact
because
movie title.
partly because I had been spoiled on Sinners before I watched it on Max, excuse me, HBO Max, and I didn't want that to happen with Weapons because especially Weapons, like I didn't really know anything
Yeah.
aside from what
Mhm.
Jeff said on the podcast about the premise. So I was like, I don't want to, everybody was talking about it, and I was like, I feel like in 3 or 4 months when this comes on streaming, it's going to be after the fact. I'm going to know what happens and what it's about. So I decided to go, went with a couple friends who you might remember from our end of year podcast. um,
Shout out Jacob
and
and Nathan. Love you guys.
it was very fun. I had a good time. Yeah, I thought it was a very good movie. I thought it was very enjoyable. And then there's only two other releases I saw that were released between May and August. I did catch up on a few others like Sinners and Drop.
Oh, nice.
But as far as movies that were released May through August, I did watch The Phoenician Scheme,
Nice.
which I liked to some degree. That was my first Wes Anderson film, and it was weird, but I liked it. And I know people don't think that's, anywhere near his top film. And then the other one I watched was Mountainhead,
Mm.
which was released on the last day of Emmy eligibility, but it was May 31st. And that one I thought, speaking of timely,
Hmm.
lots of timeliness in that. And I thought the first half of it was really intriguing, but then I thought it kind of fell apart in the second half.
I would agree. We could probably get to that a little bit in our Emmys
Yeah, we might
discussion
talk
next
about it in
week.
the Emmy Awards
Right.
episode.
Cool,
That's
cool.
awesome. That's awesome,
Yeah.
Ben. And shout out to the movie of the summer. Can't believe the movie of the summer was not a movie that was released in theaters until a sing along 2 months after it hit streaming, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's been quite a phenomenon.
It's insane.
Most
Um,
watched movie on Netflix of
I'm
all
I'm just
time.
not gonna see it because A, I don't really like animated films. B, I'm not into K-pop. C, I'm not into demon hunting. You know,
Not into
not my
demon
things.
hunting.
That's an 0 for 3, dog.
Yep, yep. And real quick before we shift over to TV, I don't know if anybody else has anything else about movies, but I'm gonna drop this real quick, Jeff. I didn't tell you I was gonna do this, but what are you most anticipating for the fall now? I know we did our most
Yeah.
anticipated rest of 2025, but now that more trailers have come out and more information, like, is there something you're really in particular looking? Because
Mm.
I'm very excited about the fall for both movies and TV. I feel like there's a lot of good stuff coming in both.
For sure. So I am going to keep one battle after another number one. Weapons is gone because guess what? I saw it and I loved it. Sorry, spoiler alert for 4 months down the road. I think I will keep Wake Up Dead Man. I'm going to add Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, which looks awesome, and I'm very, very excited. And I think I'll keep Begonia. I think it's a toss up between that and let's say Marty Supreme. But yeah, I think I like where my list is at. I'm still very excited for a bunch of
Good.
my movies.
Amanda, anything from you, or have you not really paid much attention to that?
I feel like there's been a lot of stuff recently that I've been adding to my watch list, so I'm trying to look it up really quick. Jeff, can I filter by like release year? Yeah, I can.
Yes, you can.
Well, you're looking. I will just chime in that I've done a little more following things since I we did our list, and my list was more TV things and
Yeah.
populist fare like Wicked and stuff. But I am definitely intrigued by Jay Kelly. I think that sounds like a kind of movie I would like, and I am also very interested in Blue Moon,
Yes. Yes.
which is about Rogers and Hart, and sounds like something up my alley.
Ethan Hawke, Margaret Qualley. Apparently, Ethan Hawke is amazing in it.
Yeah.
Very, very excited to see that one.
And I believe Mr. Ripley himself, Andrew Scott, is in that too,
He
right?
is, yes.
So I'm looking forward to Wake Up Dead Man, of course.
Of course.
I think I'm really looking forward to A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey,
Yes.
but I feel like I'm sure it's going to be good. I'm sure it's going to be good. It's just a question of how good. And then I feel like I have a couple fringe ones in my watch list that I haven't actually seen trailers for, or I've only seen a trailer for like once. And I was just like, yeah, I'm down for that. So those include Eternity, Twinless, and Splitsville.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Splitsville's, I'm excited to see Splitsville.
yeah. So, and then a couple of the other ones on my watch list literally just came out last weekend, The Roses, and this weekend, Honey Don't. So we'll see. I'll be watching those soon.
All right. Should we
Awesome.
shift over to TV?
Let's
Yeah,
shift to
let's do it.
TV.
All right. So, I would say this was a pretty rough summer for TV. And I thought last summer was bad, and I actually think this summer was probably worse.
Ooh.
Um, there was very little that I like stuck with or enjoyed this summer. I feel like my total for the year, like, because TV seasons go June to May instead of the calendar year. And
Mm-hmm.
my total for this year is very low so far
Mm.
because I just haven't stuck with things once I've tried it. But I will give a few shout outs. Probably number one for me is the second season of Platonic, which is currently airing on Apple TV Plus. If you guys who are listening have not watched the show, Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne are in it. I actually like it more than the studio when we're talking about Seth Rogen's Apple shows. And I don't love everything about it. Like some of the supporting cast I could take or leave, but the two of them, especially when they're together on screen, are really, really dynamic. And it's a really fun show. Um, and then, we had another mixed season from The Bear that I almost don't remember that was this summer. But I felt a little torn on the first season. I mean the third season, and then I felt more torn on the fourth season because there's things I liked more about it and things I liked less. Like the third season had some real high highs, which we talked about at the end of year podcast. We'll probably talk about when we get to the Emmys episode next week, but it also had low lows, whereas the fourth season felt just
Mm-hmm.
kind of fine all the way through for me. A couple other little random ones. I watched Stick, which I
Mm-hmm.
didn't love, but it was fine. I watched Criminal Minds Evolution. Meh. I watched Adults at Amanda's request. That was a funny show. I did like that. And then the two shows. Oh, and then no, I'm sorry, I forgot a couple of things. Smoke on Apple TV Plus was a real wacky show. I don't even quite know how to describe that one. And the whole way through I was like, this is dumb, but I stayed with it, and it was a mess of a show, but I couldn't quite drop it. I think it's one of those shows that if there's a lot more on, I probably would have dropped it. Which is probably true for a lot of these shows, to be honest. Which leads to my last two I was going to talk about, which are okay. There's two shows that came on this summer that I feel a little embarrassed even mentioning that I watched on here, but I'm going to do it and say it anyway. Uh, Number one is The Hunting Wives.
Oh my gosh, you watched that.
Uh, you know, if you may or may not know this, you're listening, but I've had a thing for Brittany Snow since she was on American Dreams back in when I was in high school, and she's about my age, and so I've always followed her career since then. Um, The Hunting Wives is the trashiest show to hit TV. in a long time. But boy, it was addicting. I was like, this is not something you're going to see on my top 10 at the end of the year. Certainly not something that should be considered for awards. But boy, talk about like sometimes you just need like a real breezy, page turny kind of thriller, and that's what this was. But it was so trashy. Um, and so there was that. So I watched that. Now it was originally intended for stars, which I think why all the people on Netflix who were watching it were a little taken aback by how trashy it was. And then the other one is not my demographic, but it's something everybody is watching this summer, which is The Summer
I Turned Pretty.
Um, so I actually have watched the show from the beginning, and I've always it's always come on at a time, going back to the summer thing again, like it's always come on at a time that I don't have a lot on my list, and I just always kind of see it through, and I think it's been somewhat intriguing. The online discourse around this show though is insane. And people are just like getting mad at the actors, and like teen girls everywhere are in a weird place about those two brothers on that show. I'm not watching it with nearly as much invested, but
yeah.
It's also a kind of addicting, page turn beachy, thrilling. I mean, in a different way. It's not like a thriller, like hunting wise, but it's a very breezy summer show.
Are you Team Conrad or Team Jeremiah?
Well, I mean, okay. That's the thing. Like, I don't know that anybody is Team Jeremiah.
Okay.
But Conrad's pretty toxic too. So I'm kind of team neither one of them. But I also find Belly super annoying. So I kind of just don't want any of them to have happiness. But I don't know that like I've ever seen, maybe not since like Jim was trying to decide between Pam and Karen, have I ever seen like a fandom just completely flock to one side.
Oh my gosh.
So there's that. And then the only other things I've been watching this summer are I have been slowly for like 2 years now making my way through the OC. Speaking of teen summer dramas. But this one I really love because it takes me back to my teenage years, and I never watched it back in the day, so it's been fun. And then I watched The Leftovers. I've been watching that, which is fantastic, and I have wanted to watch that for years, never watched it before. I'm almost done with the first season. Really, really gripping and sad and thought-provoking. And then the last thing, and before I turn over to you guys, is I've been watching a bunch of football documentaries. I watched Quarterback, I watched The Kingdom, I watched America's Team, and of course, watching Hard Knocks.
There you go.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
And The Kingdom, I will say a lot of people probably don't want to watch that because it's about the Chiefs. If you hate the Chiefs, or if you love the Chiefs, watch the first 5 episodes. If you don't love the Chiefs but love Andy Reid, the second episode is all about him. It's really great.
Nice.
But if you hate the Chiefs, the finale, which is all about the Super Bowl, is really enjoyable.
Perfect. I did that the year that HBO did Hard Knocks. The first year I think they did Hard Knocks in season. They followed the Miami Dolphins. And at the end of that was the year at the end of the season where the Bills beat the Dolphins in the last game of the season to clinch the AFC East. And it was the one with like the Deontay Hardy punt return in Miami and all that stuff. And I didn't watch a single lick of that season except for the last episode. And I was very, very happy.
Yeah, if you're a Bills fan, you definitely don't want to watch the next to last episode.
Shocking.
It's about the championship game.
Ugh.
So,
Ouch.
What about you guys?
Well, I think for me, I think Amanda and I can probably speak to the exact same things. But I know for me, I finished 5 seasons of TV. We've started 3 and dropped 1. So dropped Stick after a couple of episodes.
You didn't even watch the first episode, Geoff. You only watched the second episode.
Yeah, I watched the second episode and I decided it was not for me. So I didn't go back and watch the first.
It's a Ted Lasso wannabe.
Mm-hmm.
I dropped it after the second episode. I couldn't keep going.
But I think we've both watched and both loved Adults. I think that Adults came at a perfect time. It's a breezy, funny watch. I think every episode has been a highlight. We've rewatched it already.
Multiple times.
The episode episode 3 of that season, Have You Seen This Man? Maybe my favorite episode of TV of the summer. It's legitimately laugh out loud hysterical. Also, we finished the latest season of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely loved it.
It just reminded me, I never watched the Abbott crossover on their show because I don't watch Always Sunny, and I totally
Right.
forgot I was going to watch the Abbott one, but I never did.
The crossover is fine. It's
Yeah.
fine. It gets silly. It's very funny how they framed it. I guess slight spoilers, but they basically it takes place on the same day.
Yeah.
And it is very funny seeing the Abbott cast in an FX environment.
Yeah. I've heard that they both kind of took on the identity of their shows where they cross.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Then we watched the reboot of King of the Hill, which I liked. I think it kind of tapped into kind of the spirit of the original. We watched the 4th season of The Bear, and I watched Tires season 2. I had a fun time enough with the first one. Thought I'd throw in the second one as a nice casual, laughy watch, and that's exactly what it was. There's something about, I know people's opinions of Shane Gillis vary, but I like his kind of humor. It's funny. I don't know what it is. I like it. And then we've started and are in the middle of South Park, Alien Earth. Well, I'm in the middle of Alien Earth, which is fine so far. And then, like you said, Ben, Hard Knocks, which is fine. I think it's tough watching a show like Hard Knocks when you're like a super fan of the team because they cover things at such like a surface level and in a way to try to appeal to the masses that it's like, it's tough.
And obviously, I love the Bills. They're right there with the Packers for my favorite team. They're not the best in terms of good TV though.
No.
Not that interesting,
No.
which is fine.
The one drama point was
Better
like
for an NFL team, maybe not good for TV.
right. The one drama point being like the James Cook contract situation, squashed.
Yeah.
Really.
They just don't have many real wild personalities on their team, which again is good when you're building
Right.
Yeah.
a football team you want to
Right.
contend, but
You can only show
you're
Josh Allen.
populating an HBO show.
You can only show Josh Allen for so long.
Yeah.
All right, Amanda, I'll pass it over to you. I know I talked a lot about the shows that you probably want to highlight, but I would love to hear your color on what we talked about.
Yeah. Like you said, Adults was incredible. Have watched it multiple times already. Such a funny show that I was not expecting anything from. So that's great. The Bear, I agree with you, Ben. The Bear was fine all the way through. It was fine. I enjoyed the wedding episode. That was like a standout for me. But again, like their longer episodes usually are like the standout because I don't know. They have more time to explore things, I guess. I don't know. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That was very good. King of the Hill, I really, really ended up enjoying. After the first episode, I was like, I don't know if I want to watch this. Just because it was so much like exposition and reintroducing characters and this is where they are now and this is what they're doing. And it was a lot. But the whole rest of the season it just felt like a warm hug. Like it really the animation obviously is different and not definitely not as good as the original animation, but the characters themselves and the storylines felt really true to the original show. And then the only other show that I watched that Geoff didn't watch was The Better Sister, which was fine. I binged it in like a day or two. So that's the kind of show that it is. It hooks you in the moment and then you're like, all right, that was fine.
Sometimes shows that you binge, I feel like you just a month or two passes and you're like, what even happened on that show?
Right.
Oh yeah. There's like no way your brain can process it all when you just watch it all at once.
Yeah.
All right.
I think as of right now, I think 2 seasons of these shows, maybe 3, will end up in my top 10 at the end of the year.
Yeah, I don't think any will for mine. I don't think there's anything that will crack the top. Maybe Platonic. Other than that,
Yeah.
I don't
We'll
think
see.
so.
Yeah. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of our summer recap episode. Join us next week. We will be giving a Emmys preview, predictions, I guess. We'll be going through everything that was nominated and giving our thoughts on the shows and what we think will win, what should win, our own lists of what we think should win. So be sure to join us for that. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a rating or review and follow us on all our social channels. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see y'all next week.
To infinity and beyond!
Why so serious?
I am serious, and don't call me Shook.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.